Hey guys, it's Dani. Today it is time to look at the Cattleya seedlings that we purchased last year. This is the 1-year update. So we're gonna take a look at the seedlings that I still have. I'm gonna show you the ones that are doing okay. I lost a few of them actually, so if you don't see them in comparison to the initial video, it's because I lost them. As I was saying in my previous video, whenever we're dealing with seedlings, we have to know they're much more sensitive than the adults, and sometimes things happen. And we did lose a few of them. One is still in rehab, but I'm not hoping for too much. And yeah, things happen, and I do still have a few that are a little bit more finicky, and I will intervene. I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna intervene. But we have a whole bunch of them that either have tried to bloom, either have already been repotted because they're outgrowing their pot. So there's a multitude of outcomes here. And I think it's really interesting to see how these guys arrived, how they look now, what's the outcome. Right, so before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it and you find it useful. And why not subscribe? It's free and I post multiple times a week. But if you're feeling a little extra and you can and you further wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member and getting access to some exclusive behind the scene videos. You can also use the affiliate links that I have down below in the description. You can also check out the merch. We have a beautiful puzzle right now and some beautiful mugs, and you can also use the super thanks option below my videos. I cannot tell you how exhausted I am right now. This is the last video I'm filming today. It's getting late. Let's power through. Right, I'm gonna start with this one because I just repotted it. Like, I filmed the video like 10 minutes ago. I don't know when I'm gonna post it, but I'm gonna link to it here if you wanna see the repotting. This is, I think, the most vigorous of the seedlings. This is Shomburgkia thompsoniana crossed with Cattleya Orchid. It doesn't have a registered name yet, as far as I know. It just has like the parents as a name, and look at it. She's absolutely gorgeous, but I fear that we still have some growing to do. I know the parents, they're taller than this, so I'm expecting this one to just have to grow a little bit more. Maybe next year we might see some blooms with a little bit of luck, but I don't know. I just repotted it because it was outgrowing her pot and we have new roots growing. And actually, I didn't repot it, I up-potted it because I didn't want to set it back. I talk about it in that video. If you have some time, you can watch it. I'll link you to it down below, maybe in the pinned comment as well. But this one is doing great. Actually, no, you know, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna do that transition where the old footage will just appear from somewhere on the screen. I'm just gonna sit in the middle because I tried to do this business, but like the image that I put here is too small, and if you're watching on mobile, you won't be able to see anything. And yeah, I think it's better to just split the screen into post-production stuff. Anyway, this has been the Shomburgkia cross, and she's doing great, as you can see. Next up, we have Cattleya Bellona St. Quentin 1914, and this is the actual registered name, 1914 RHS. This is such an old hybrid. It's more than 100 years old. Wow. And this is Cattleya Dowiana crossed with Cattleya Maggie Raphael. Amazing. Now, the orchid is not 100 years old. It's just that that's when the hybrid was produced. It is a man-made hybrid, but obviously it has natural parents, and it will inherit the genes of the natural parents. That's one thing with hybridization, you guys. We cannot hybridize two tropical plants and obtain a cold climate plant. It's not how it works. And I say this because I had a comment saying, well, if these orchids are meant to be watered with ice, why do we water with water? And yeah, they were talking about the Just Add Ice orchid, which many of you know. They use orchids from other nurseries. Last I checked, now I don't know, but the orchids are all the same. They're Phalaenopsis hybrids. They don't have anything cold growing in them. They are tropical plants. So it doesn't matter if they're man-made. The raw material we started with is in a certain way. We cannot combine two Cattleyas to obtain a Phalaenopsis. We cannot combine two hot-growing Cattleyas and obtain a cold-growing Cattleya, a Sophronides type. Not how it works. So the genetic material stays, even if they're hybrids. I don't know why I started this tangent, but I feel like it had a purpose. I'm so tired. Right. Did I say what this is? Yeah, this is an old hybrid. And this one is one of those that has slow growth. I know the Dowiana, it grows slow. It grows 1 growth per year, and it matured this pseudobulb in my care. I need to water it, it's a little shriveled. they could use a repot as well. But we have new growth. We have a tiny little new growth here. I'm gonna zoom you in. So she is doing really good, even though honestly, if we compare the two, there's no comparison. But no two seedlings are the same. They are different, especially hybrids. So I'm really happy with how it's going for a Dowiana hybrid. Honey, I'm not expecting blooms overnight. It's gonna be 3 years at least until we see blooms from this one. Mark my words. And I don't feel like doing anything to set it back. Right? Can you imagine? Okay, this is a no ID Cattleya hybrid. I remember this was the €4 one. Oh my gosh, these are dry and shriveled. Excuse the shrivels. We're a little thirsty. I'm gonna water them tonight. Right, so this is a no ID hybrid. It was the cheapest one in the lot. It was €4 or 3 something, 3.75, something like that. And I got it because I like surprises. Now it's a double-edged sword with surprises. Sometimes it's not a good surprise, but it's a surprise nonetheless, you know? If it looks like something I wouldn't like, at least, you know, it's the element of surprise there, which I value a lot. I love surprises, good surprises, hopefully. But yeah, I like the surprise and the suspense of it. So that's why I'm growing it, and it's doing great. So about this one, I cannot tell you if it has slow growth or how many growths per year it produces. It only, I don't know if it matured this one and then this one came. They even look different. This is bifoliate, this is unifoliate. Who knows? Who knows what this is? But it is vigorous. Look at it. It's doing good, but I don't know what it is. All right, let's move on. This one I thought it was gonna bloom, but no. Cattleya Hodkinsoniae. Okay, hoping that's the right pronunciation. I thought this one had a bloom here. It was just a rogue pseudobulb. It's okay. Now this one has a terrifying pattern on the back. I'll make another parenthesis here. I showed that update on one of the hauls where I showed one of the orchids had the new growth that were, they dried off, but then the new growth was okay. And somebody said, oh my gosh, how can you like touch that growth, which could be virused, and then touch the other growths or the other orchids or something like that? One, if the orchid is virused, everything is virused. It doesn't matter what I touch, it's all virused. Second, it's not virused, or I presume it's not. Doesn't show any signs of viruses. It just shows that those growths rotted on transport because it blackened immediately after I purchased it. So maybe there was some moisture trapped in there, which is fairly common, and it's, you know, the most likely scenario. And third, to transmit a virus, this is not enough. This is not enough. Don't cringe. It's not enough to transmit a virus. Viruses need direct sap contact. Either I cut something on a virused orchid and I don't sanitize my cutting tool, and then I cut something else on an orchid, and that's how I can transmit a virus. Or if you have pests, and not just any pest, a pest big enough that it goes directly to the sap and it has sap left on the mouthpiece and then it moves on. Direct sap contact is what you need to know. So just touching it is absolutely fine. I don't think viruses are even present in that sweet thing. I'm not sure, but this one doesn't have sap on it. Anyway, I made a side quest here. This looks horrifying, but I don't think it is virused. This looks a lot like a fungal infection. This is the growth it arrived with. And again, on transport, fungal infections, rots, bacterial, soft rots, all of those things, they happen a lot because the plants sit on a non-ventilated environment for a period of time. And for me, transport takes a while, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think these were 3 weeks on transport almost. It happens because the new growth actually looks absolutely fine. It's vigorous. Usually there are multiple symptoms that happen at the same time that make me think, where's my English? Make me feel like there might be a virus. And even if I think there's a virus involved, I don't know if there is. I need a test and I don't have a test. A test is the only way to know if you have a virus. So these growths, which are the older growths, look at them. They're both looking bad. It might be transport damage. The new growths that grew here entirely, they look absolutely fine. Look at these two, absolutely fine. There are 2 more growths here that look nice. So I don't think this one is virused, but yeah, it kind of juked me a little. It was a rogue pseudobulb here. I thought it was a flower spike, but no. It is a fast grower though. I have new growth already on these growths. I don't think it's a 1 pseudobulb a year type of a Cattleya. Right, next up we have, what are you? RLC Beardwoodensis Rutherford 1912. My gosh, very, very old hybrids. I love rediscovering these hybrids. In time, you know, fashion comes, fashion goes, but then it comes again. These old hybrids, don't get me wrong, I love new hybrids, but these old hybrids, they have, I don't know, an allure to them. I like old hybrids. They're a lot more elegant in my opinion, because they rely on that floofy type of Cattleya more. They grow slower, but they're more elegant, so I love them. Right, this one matured this growth, which looks impeccable, and we have another growth here at the bottom. So it did very, very well after it had a new growth that rotted on transport here. Again, it's just the transport issue. But on this side, everything looks good. It grew pretty well. It's one of those Cattleyas which has low growth. I think we can tell. I think it's gonna take a while. I think it should be much taller, and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take its sweet time, but it's here, it's okay. And maybe with many of these, what I will do is up-pot them this year, so I don't set them back. Here's the second juker. This is oh my goodness. This is LC Marie Chen, crossed Cattleya, crossed Mesuresi. Who knows? Who knows with these tags what I have here? Some of these orchids don't even have a picture because they're newer hybrids. Not everything is an old hybrid, so we don't know how they look like. Right, this one tried to bloom here. You can see it has a little flower spike. The bloom never developed. The buds absolutely yellowed. It's okay. And we already are working, oh, it's a springtail, it's okay. We're already working on another growth here at the base. I see it. We have roots growing. Good time to repot, to be fully honest. We have root growth. Another awesome orchid, and I suspect this one will be a miniature orchid because look how big it is. And it's already starting to bloom. It might grow a little bit taller, but not like this. Very happy with this one. And this one too, I'm very happy with. This is RLC Terpa. This one is one of those. Slow growth, big fluffy flowers, but look how nice it is. It matured this growth in the meantime. I don't remember which one I arrived with, maybe this one, but it grew this one, and I see new growth starting at the base as well. These guys usually grow in the summertime when temperatures are hot. These are kind of hot growing Cattleyas, and she's just absolutely fantastic. Look at that. I have a long wait ahead of me, but things are looking very promising and nothing much to say. Right, this one. Okay, this one. I need to do something. This is Ayrton Senna. Oh no, oh no. I know. You need more. You need more. Right, so what I'm gonna do with this one, you see we have roots here, but I suspect we don't have much roots inside because the new growth didn't have time to grow yet. It has a weird growth pattern. So what I will do is put it on a bed of sphagnum moss just to hydrate it, just to hydrate these roots that are everywhere. And no, roots do not grow in the air because they don't like the medium. Roots grow in the air because that's what they're genetically programmed to do. Imagine this was on a tree. Roots will grow everywhere. They will hold on to that tree, not just like this, but also like this. You know what I'm saying? They will hold on to the tree because they need to stabilize the orchid in all directions. Maybe the older roots that were in the pot, maybe they died off after repotting, which happens a lot with Cattleya. And the newer roots, they grew because these roots are a little tall. So already they sprouted on top of the medium and they just went ways. So what I'm gonna do is just put it on a bed of sphagnum moss until we have more roots. I'm doing that already with an orchid which had the same problem. It happens. I'm gonna show you, since we're here, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna show you, and I'm also gonna direct you to a video because each case is a little bit different and we need to kind of adapt a little bit according to the case. So this is an orchid that produced, actually it had older roots that died off after I received it, after transport, and is that type of orchid that only grows one growth per year. What are you? Nobilior, I think it is. So one growth per year. This is the growth. It's now putting out roots, but it tried to put out roots in the past. Because I top off my medium with bark, that bark stays super dry. So until it reached the sphagnum moss, the root dried. It is what it is. So what I'm doing, just to make sure that I hydrate the orchid, I'm letting it sit like this in a bed of sphagnum moss, which I keep damp. And the roots will grow into the sphagnum moss until they grow big enough to be able to absorb water. And when they're big enough, I can go ahead and pot it because the roots will already be long enough to reach the moss layer. So the bark layer on top, even if it's dry, it's not gonna matter. But with these cases, when all of the roots of the past have died, which happens a lot with Cattleyas. This is what I like to do. Let me position it. There we go. The roots need to be wet. The roots need to get hydrated, absorb water to hydrate the orchid. The orchid is already out of energy. That's why the roots don't grow into the medium. They don't have energy. They need moisture to help them to start to absorb a little bit of moisture, a little bit of something to keep them going, to keep them growing. So that's one thing you can do. And there's another. In the case of roots just growing on top of the medium, sometimes horizontally, I have a video about it. And it also has an update in the pinned comment. Check it down below. In that case, all I needed to do was just unpot the orchid, put the root at a slanted angle, pot back the orchid, presto, it's done. No need for this, but in this case we didn't have long enough roots, so I have to do this. Right, going on a tangent there, but I like to teach you stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one, put it on a bed of sphagnum moss and wait it out. Don't panic. Sometimes it's just as easy as that, it's logical. It's the consequence of being a young orchid, being dehydrated, all of those things, and just the roots growing wherever they feel like, and you can't control that. So don't worry if this happens, just, I showed you what to do. Right, next up, Cattleya Violacea cross seedling. This one looks so good. I had a Violacea in the past and it really wasn't strong. I think there was something with that orchid. This one looks so nice. Look how nice the new foliage looks like, and it's the first no, it's not the first pseudobulb to be bifoliate, but it's the biggest pseudobulb, so this one did well. This is more of a tinier orchid as far as I know. It's still a seedling, it's still gonna take a while to bloom, but it's not gonna have to grow to this size to bloom. If my memory serves me right, this is a miniature-ish Cattleya, but it has a wonderful flower. Always wanted to have a Violacea, and this one, the crossed with seedling, looks a little bit different than others, I feel like. So really excited about it. Next up, Cattleya De Geestiana, which is Laelia flava crossed with Shomburgkia. It's a little interesting, right? It has tiny pseudobulbs and very narrow leaves. I feel like this one is not supposed to be very tall. I feel like, again, this is one that stays rather small, which is great, means I don't have to wait too much for flowers, but there's nothing yet. So I might have to still wait a little bit, but certainly if we compare the two, I think even instinctively we can tell that this is supposed to be the big type and this kind of the small type. If you get used to Cattleyas, you kind of see them. This one has been doing great as well. And the last orchid, it's one that has a sheath. Will it bloom? Probably not. That's what happens with first sheaths. This is Cattleya Hawaiian Wedding crossed with Pink Empress. I bought the Hawaiian Wedding because it looks like my no ID white Cattleya, the Princess Jackie. So if it smells remotely similar, then we figured out that that one is the wedding song, which people suggested it might be, so that's why I bought it. But the other parent looks very nice as well. And look at that. Look how big this one is. It needs a repot. And I already potted it in a bigger pot, but yeah, it outgrew it. This is the latest growth. It doesn't have new roots yet, so I'm not in a hurry. I'm not gonna repot it just yet, but look at it. It has a sheath. Do I see anything? No, there's nothing in the sheath yet, and I don't suspect it's gonna create a flower this year, because that's what happens. Usually first sheaths are blanks. It is how it is, but who knows? A girl can dream. Who knows? But it did so well. Look at the roots, they're everywhere. In the pot, out of the pot, everywhere, and we have the sheath. It has been doing great. So as you can see, lots of different outcomes here. The ones that I still have, they are looking okay. That's the only one that I need to address. And the ones that didn't make it, they just melted away. And that happens a lot with seedlings, especially after transport. It helps when you don't have long transports, but in the end, even if you have like overnight shipping, you can have just those individuals that simply don't pull through. Seedlings are a lot more finickier than orchids. And also because they are seedlings, and I suspect many of these, they're not tissue cultured because they're hybrids and they don't have a registered name. So they're experiments. Many of them, they're not even culled, you know? And by that, I mean C-U-L-L-E-D, culled. So the strong individuals were kept and the weak individuals were discarded. Typically, that's how it goes. Hybridizers don't keep all of them. I think they were just made and put out for sale, pretty much. And some of them will just not be vigorous. Some of them are not meant to exist anyway. So that's why it happens. Don't feel bad if you lose seedlings. It is part of the game. They are much more affordable than mature orchids for a reason. But most of them, in my experience, they mostly do well. Now, how will their flowers look? Oh goodness, I don't know. That's a whole different story. Some of them might have distorted flowers. But I like the journey. I do. Some of these probably are clones, yes, but some definitely are not. With some I have faith, with some I don't. But the journey at least is very nice, and if anything, you know, it's gratifying to see something you grew from a tiny, tiny little plant to something big. Even if the flower is not what you expect, it's still yours, you still grew it. So it's an accomplishment and you should feel proud, you should be accomplished by it. So if you are into orchids but don't have big budgets, do consider seedlings. Cattleya seedlings are wonderful, I love them. Phalaenopsis seedlings are great too, they grow faster, they bloom at a young age. I would look into these two. Oncidiums maybe not so much, and also Dendrobium seedlings. They are amazing too. Dendrobium phalaenopsis type seedlings or Kingianum hybrids. They usually do good, they're not finicky, their root systems are much more vigorous than what I'm showing you here. But these three I believe are the top when it comes to seedlings, and I feel like you're gonna get rewarded. There's also Vanda seedlings, but they take a million years to grow. If you have the patience to wait around 7, 8, 9, 10 years, okay? But if you don't, yeah, these will bloom faster. Right, let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me today and watching the updates on the seedlings. Let me know, do you have seedlings? What do you think about them? How is your experience? Let us know in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!